welcome to another episode of Leaders. Today I'm joined by my guest, Mr. Dan Rusu, who's based in Bucharest, Romania. Dan's going to be sharing his insight and knowledge and his experience in the world of private sector international investigations. Welcome, Dan. How are you? Good to see you. Good to have you on the show.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mike, for this opportunity, and greetings to all our.
Dan, just introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little bit of an introduction.
Thanks for having me once again. I will start by some kind of references about me. 1989 to 1996, I was in charge of security for one of the greatest hotel resorts in Bucharest, in Romania. And then from 1996 to 2007, I was in charge of security and IT department at Medical Division of Internal Affairs Ministry. And then I stepped into the International Police Association. I was in charge of external relations and in charge of site, the webmaster of IPA Romania. 2008, 2010, I was security inspector at International Airport Henry Coandă from Bucharest. And in 2010, I thought it's time to go on my own feet. So I created Eagle Security International. And in 2011, on some kind of pressure and advice from my good friend Matthias Willenbrink from Berlin, I joined WAD, which for sure was one of the best decisions I ever take in my life. In 2019, in Stockholm, in Sweden, I was elected as the president of WAD, which was a great event, and it was one of the top achievements for myself and my professional status. And I was the president 2 years instead of one because of the pandemic. So I stepped out of the office in 2021 in a meeting online, as that was the situation at that time. So in big steps, this is my professional status, let's say.
Brilliant. Thank you, Dan. Thanks for that. Thanks for that introduction. So, having experience in the public sector where you were working in the police and whatever else, and actually doing some other security advisory roles and airport advisory roles, how have you found that transition to working in the private sector now? And what were the differences for you, do you think?
Well, thanks for asking this. It's really important. It's very important for all the police officer or whatever that retire and want to join our profession. Of course, it was a big advantage coming from this, let's say, military background, or because we gather a lot of knowledge and a lot of complex situation, and going on my own, creating my own company. Of course, I would say it was a little bit easier comparing to persons who become private investigator without any police or military background, or this kind of and it was really helpful, the IPA period, because I was in charge in international relations, and I had a lot of friend connections that really helped me when I started the company. And when I had some cases and I had nobody to put the hand on, of course, I take advantage of my friends and colleagues, and the situation could be handled more easier. So I would say it was an easy transaction between being unemployed as an internal affairs ministry or other companies and going on my own, because I had enough experience, enough background, and while you have your own company, it's more easy, more flexible, and you can very well deal with all kind of situation without expecting orders or, from your superiors, advices and everything. So you can, in fact, if you allow me, I start with taking in custody one Mercedes. It was Matthias from Berlin that called me at 9 o'clock in the morning, telling me because the car was equipped with a GPS from the factory, they know exactly where it is. It was in Yash area, which is 350 kilometers away. And he called me at 9 o'clock and tell me this case. And I step in the car, drove like hell to the Yash. Meanwhile, I called the IPA friend and police from Yash, and they supervised the car. And on short, at 10 o'clock in the evening, I was in Bucharest with the car under my custody. So that makes a difference between the private and,
The bureaucratic. Yeah, yeah. So you can move much quicker. So Bucharest, Romania, investigations, private sector. What is it like, Dan, there conducting investigations? And I understand you've explained that process there, but generally in conducting investigations in the private sector, what is that process like?
I think we are lucky. There are not so many countries that have a special law for private investigators. We are lucky or not to have it. We have this law, which sometimes is good, but sometimes it's very limited. So you cannot do too many things because the government don't want us to put our nose everywhere. So we're pretty limited, but we're dealing all kind of situation and starting from medical insurance claims to whatever big factories. They have a lot of theft there, and you have to hire an undercover agent and put inside and discover all this situation. So I think it's good. I noted here something about this topic, and I can tell you that I mean it's really difficult here in Romania to get a license and to become private investigator. Comparing to Denmark, for example, as from our friend Uffe from Denmark told us. Today I'm a carpenter, and tomorrow I will go to the city hall and say, I want to be a private investigator. Okay, you can do that. No, this is completely different. You need to have a law degree, or you should have been a police officer, and you go to and you get a very, very serious exam with 50, 60 questions, starting with the law, with everything. So it's not so easy to get the license.
So you need to take an exam to get your investigator license.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And you cannot run a company without having this license as a manager, being like I told you, being a former police officer.
So you need to have that as well as the exam. So you need to be either a former police officer or graduated from law school, one thing, and then take an exam. So two
Yeah.
things. Wow,
Yes.
that's quite a process.
Yes.
In Romania, the local association is the PDPR, isn't it?
PDPR, yes, it's
Right.
in charge of big companies, and ANEDR is for persons.
How many investigators in Romania do you think there are private sector then?
Well, according to the documents registered at the Romanian police, there are some 4,000, something like that. But really working, I don't think
Oh,
it's
really? Oh, wow.
more than 100.
Tell us a little bit about your role in the WAD, your experience, and how it's helped you with what you do.
Well, it was definitely like I said at the beginning, one of the best decisions to grow and extend my business. And as a professional private investigator, this would be for the young investigators or for those who are not yet enrolled in association. So the professional investigator, private investigators participating in PI association offers numerous benefits, both personally and professionally. And this is what I have been through myself and you and all the people that join WAD. Associations serve as platform, as you know, for networking, education, advocacy, and maintaining high ethical standards within the industry, which is very important. What this kind of association offers you, and I mean, especially at WAD, by the way, this year we will celebrate 100 years, which is not a little thing. And we shouldn't miss it. It's one in a lifetime event, and it should all be there. Yeah, they offer you networking and collaboration, which is very important and main resources and tools, of course, which you cannot get being on your own and not being a part of a big association. And I would say, in conclusion, that being a part of a professional PI association like WED can change your career by fostering professional development, networking, advocacy, and adherence to ethical standards. It is a means to elevate the reputation of the private investigative industry, ensuring it remains credible, respected, and continually advancing. I love to do this. I was really surprised about what WAD offers me and how the situation and status of my agency grow up after I joined WAD. And of course, joining WAD is not enough. You need to go to our conferences. You need to meet persons, colleagues. You need to shake hands. You need to exchange business cards. This is how you create your network. And this is how you can be sure that whatever task you may have in any place on earth, you can be sure you can do this by calling your colleagues from that country, from that part, and then it is like you are doing yourself. So it's a great benefit to be a part of this.
Yeah, one point you mentioned, Dan, joining the association isn't enough. You need to turn up. You need to network. You need to meet people because, sometimes you think, oh, I join, and then all of a sudden I'm going to get 10 cases every week. It doesn't work like that. You need to.
Doesn't work like that. Yes.
Like what you said, you need to make those private friendships and connections with other experts around the world. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the challenges, Dan, about how do you see the challenges in our industry now, especially for you with the work you do? And some of the work you do can be quite difficult, especially where you're based, and that Eastern European risk that has developed. Talk about a little bit about the challenges and put anything in place to protect you. Do you tackle cases slightly differently? Explain that process. I think that's quite important for us to understand.
First of all, of course, we too meet in London for some GDPR courses. Of course, the GDPR is something that we need to decide to live with somehow because it is what it is. Things are going softer now after the first shock with GDPR. Then things are not like so bad as we thought. Of course, the situation and our location is one that can bring you some problems. I had some cases to go in Ukraine and extract some VIPs from there, and it was really challenging. It was difficult. We had some cases with cigars, with counterfeit cigars from Ukraine. They need to be chased, and we need to chase them until Paris and France and whatever. So it was could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Could be, but we managed to handle. One on another, things are good. From my opinion, it should be better for a good collaboration or improve the partnership between law enforcement and us. It's very important because We are on the same side
Yeah,
of the boat,
yeah.
so we work to to find the truth, and we always can be a good help for them.
How is the law enforcement relationship with the private sector in Romania?
I would say it's not so good.
Right.
For if I speak for myself, it is very good because I used to, my attitude, being friendly, being there, working with them, knowing them, and for me it was good because I had some cases that we worked together with the law enforcement. So, but in general, no, it's not so
They don't like
good.
private investigators?
They don't like us. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to get, for example, some basic information. Look, guys, I have this contract. I need to know this guy's address, and oh, now that's a disaster. No, you will not get them. According to the law, in 1 month they should answer, and they should give you the what you need. But think
Right.
about a case that is need to be solved quickly. To wait a month just to get the address, and then no,
It's never going to work. Not in the private
yeah,
sector.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to waste a lot of time and days, raise a budget of the client, which is not very good, neither for us, neither for them, and
Yeah.
stay on the street and trying to find something that could be so easy. I mean, in fact, we could bring money to the government. Okay,
Yeah.
you want it address and you want it quickly. You check me. I'm okay. I have license. I have a contract.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want urgently, it costs you 200 euro. If you want in 1 week, it will be 100 euro. So
Yeah.
of course, you can pay 200 euro instead of going with the boots on the field for 2 weeks just to find some guys or.
Yeah.
So this is it.
So if you do an investigation privately and you find there's some criminal activity and you give your report to the police or fraud or whatever the case, they accept it and they say thank you very much, or there's still no collaboration?
In fact, according to the law, we are obliged if we found
Right.
something that is not right, which could be dangerous for the county, for the country, for
Yeah.
everything, we are obliged to report it. And from this point of view, they react very quickly. So the response
They
is
accept
okay.
your
They
yeah,
accept. Yes,
they
absolutely.
accept. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from this
Okay.
side, it's okay.
Right. Understood. Okay. You touched upon WAD 100.
Yeah.
It's coming up
Yeah.
in September between the 2nd and the 6th. Just so if anyone's unaware of what the WAD 100 is, it's the oldest and largest association of private sector investigators and security professionals around the world. The association will be celebrating its 100th year, which is a huge achievement, and it will be in Chicago. It will be in September, the first week. It will be in the Drake Hotel, which is the hotel that the first meeting where the WAD was initially incorporated 100 years ago. So that is a must-attend event for anyone who's working in the private sector. Tell us a little bit about that, Dan. What just give us what your thoughts are about that.
I'm looking so forward to this. So, if we can mention this, WD return home after 100 years, the same place, same hotel. So it's really unique. And I'm really proud and happy to be a part of this history. And for sure, a lot of colleagues should be there because you cannot see very often this kind of event. We, on the other side, the old elephants from WD should take good care of the new arrivals. We should welcome them and explain them why it's so good to be in such an association. Of course, all the associations are great. For example, CII or whatever, ABI, where you're the president or whatever. However, WAD is something unique. It's the oldest and the largest. So being a part of this is quite an honor, and it's a challenge to raise yourself and your attitude and your professionalism to the high standards of WED. So I think it will be great. It's amazing.
Thanks, Dan. We're all really looking forward to it. And you did say one good point there is that there are many associations around the world, local, national, global, and all associations provide value to investigators. You need to turn up, you need to show up, you need to network, you need to make friends, you need to make business contact.
Absolutely. I would like to underline a little some benefits of being a member of association, and especially WED. For the people that private investigators that are not yet members, or the young that want to find their way, their route. It's very important to find a mentor between the past president and all the amazing persons that have been to that chairs and lead our association during time. What you will get, you will get professional recognition and credibility, certifications and accreditations, industry standards, networking opportunities, which I would say is one of the best achievements you may have. Industry connections, referral networks, training and continuing education is very important, and we did this with the help of Alexei during the pandemic time. We had very interesting conferences on WhatsApp, workshops and seminars. We have in New Delhi, if you remember, in India, we had some very interesting workshops and some seminars. Skills development, last but not least, legal support and advocacy, legal advice, and marketing and business growth, not mentioning about it. So these are some few benefits that you may have joining us, because it's important.
Lots of benefits there, especially if you're from a particular sector and haven't had a lot of exposure in the private. In the private sector. So
exactly.
and also learning from experts in different countries around the world. That is huge. What you can and can't do in certain jurisdictions, how you operate, what's legal, what isn't, what culturally, there's lots of knowledge there.
It's very important. What I did, for example, I was speaking earlier about we did a couple of exchange. He had been to Romania because he had a lot of works and cases in Romania, and he was my guest here and understand exactly how it works. What are the differences between Germany and Romania? For example, at the beginning, he called me on, or even yesterday, I had a phone call with the United States, and she said, "Oh, I had a case, you need to go to the prosecutor and ask him to do this and this and this." And I explained them, no, prosecutors in Romania are some gods. You cannot reach one. You can't even meet one ever. So things are different. Comparing to Germany, where I have a case in Germany myself, and I go there and Matthias helped me, and he answered to the prosecutor, "Hey, we have this. Oh, okay, sit down, have a coffee." So it's completely different from state to state. And this is very important for the networking that we were speaking earlier, because you know exactly what to ask and how much you can ask and what can you receive and in what conditions. So it's really important. And you cannot realize this unless you did not participate to one of the conferences that meet face-to-face to the colleague and ask him. And this is the way you can do better.
Yeah. So finally, Dan, a final question to see if you can give us some of your leadership advice for people joining the industry, or even some of the guys that have been working in the industry for many, many years and maybe haven't really understood or achieved the same benefits that you have. What leadership advice can you give that are listening?
Thank you for asking this. It's very important. And I noticed some ideas here because I'm old and I don't want to forget it. I will like to explain them that when it comes to leadership in our field, in private investigation, focus should be on creating a culture of integrity. I think this is the most important thing we can speak about. Responsibility and effective communication. Private investigators often work autonomously, but when part of a team, strong leadership is essential for ensuring the success of complex cases, which we all had some kind of cases like that. And from my point of view, the most important, maintaining a high standard of professionalism and handling delicate information. These are the key elements of leadership in our field. Effective communication, advice, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Uh, I would say also flexibility and problem solving skills is as well very important. Continuous education and training. It's very important. And we in WED put this on the first place many times. Accountability and responsibility create a strong network, which is what we discuss from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
This is very important, and this is what WED offer in a big scale. And what we discussed so many times during the conferences, even in Malaysia and in India, we discussed that with colleagues. That of course we are so passionate about our work that sometimes we forget to arrive home, and maybe sometimes our kids forget how we look. But and this is why I underline this thought: maintaining work-life balance, which is very, very,
Mm,
very important, especially for us who have kids. And so I would draw a conclusion that leadership in private investigations requires a blend of practical skills, ethical behavior, and emotional intelligence. By fostering a culture of trust, integrity, and continuous learning, you will help your team not only succeed in investigations, but also grow professionally and personally. So I think this is my thoughts for the persons who are not in association or want to join us or are in association and did not pay attention very much to these main subjects.
fantastic, Dan. Work-life balance, put that at the top of
Yes,
everyone's radar.
yes.
Thank you, Dan. It's been a pleasure speaking to you today.
The pleasure and honor, and thank you for having me in this very interesting podcast.
Thank you, Dan. Take care. If anyone wants information about Dan Russo or the World Association of Detectives or any of the other bits that have been mentioned, it's all going to come up on your screen now. Thank you, Dan. Take care.